Hey all, here OS Reviews. So recently we checked out a thermal label printer from Phomemo that was really compact and able to print out full-sized shipping labels, photos, and other decorative stickers, but it sells for around $150, which is on the slightly more expensive side. So today we're taking a look at another model that has very similar functionality. In fact, it prints out paper and labels the same size, which is 4 by 6, and this time it sells for under $100. So it seems like a slightly better value on paper. Comes in either black or white, and both models have these interesting green and blue accents. However, note that since the price here is less expensive, the dimensions of the printer are also larger, so it's not going to be quite as compact, compatible with Windows and Mac OS. So once again, this model called the S8 is not a wireless model, so unfortunately that's still something I would like to see, maybe having Wi-Fi or Bluetooth built on in so you can also print from, let's say, your smartphone, since right now it's only compatible with computers. And again, just like before, it uses thermal printing, which is heat sensitive, and that means it's using these special paper cartridges and doesn't need to rely on typical ink that you have to swap in. Use it for organizing things if you need a larger canvas than a tiny label maker, and you can also use it, of course, to print out photos. Of course, everything will be in black and white, but that could be the aesthetic that you're going for. 60 labels per minute at the maximum printing speed and resolution of 203 dpi. What further sweetens the deal here is for the price, you're also getting 100 free labels included in the box, which is more than the other Phomemo printer. It came with just a few sample pages, and then you have to supply your own. So here we have the printer itself, the S8. We also have a separate little box for all the accessories, including a quick user guide, as well as the thumb drive that includes the drivers, so that you can install it for Mac OS and Windows. You can even change the dimensions and size of the label if you wanted to print on something smaller, to create other stickers, and that can also work. The printer will recognize it. We have just a standard USB cable which can be plugged into your computer, and we then have just a AC adapter. Here is a direct side-by-side look compared to the Phomemo printer that again can create the same size prints, so definitely this thing is going to be a lot smaller. You do have a window on the top that kind of gauges in and sees how much of the paper you have remaining, so it's another difference, maybe due to the larger dimensions, is the paper is technically contained inside for the entire roll. On the rear here we have power on and off key, and then we also have a micro SD card reader. Pressing on these two keys forward will basically pop open the front compartment, and we can then insert our roll on the inside here. Then just proceed to use the clamps here to tighten up the paper ever so slightly, depending on the size that you're using. Note that if you don't want to put the roll inside of the printer, technically you can still feed it through, just like on the other model, just by using the slot here. You can still stick the paper inside of here, and it can come out the same way. When switching on the printer, it will self-initiate for the first time just by aligning the roll and kind of calibrating it. So it will start to spit out some paper, and then it will kind of zoom itself back in. The USB thumb drive will contain all of the necessary drivers, as well as even some tutorial videos, but if you don't want to use it, you can even go to their website, which is hotlabel.co, and it contains pretty much the same contents as that thumb disk. There is also a tab that's labeled as Chrome OS, and just like the Phomemo printer from before, there is no official driver compatible with Chromebooks, but they do have a workaround. So with some trial and error, you can probably also get it working on Chrome OS, which is not something that was advertised on the Phomemo printer, and so this does have a little bit better compatibility as well. So let's tap on print. Afterwards, it really just takes a second to print out, so quite fast, and again, everything is pretty much instantly ready, so there's no issues in terms of it being smearable, easy to read, and shouldn't pose any issues in terms of scanning. And since it is a sticker, the backside here is fully adhesive, so all you need to do is kind of peel it off, stick onto whatever you need, such as a package, an envelope, whatever project, and you're ready to go. You can of course also customize the size of the labels if you want to print out something smaller. Let's try printing out a few other things, such as, let's say, a screenshot from a web page. And again, in terms of text, it still is quite legible. Of course, it's going to depend on what you're trying to print. Contrast is similar to the Phomemo, a little bit bumped up, so some of the textures and shadows can be a little hard to see, but you can adjust that further in settings if you wanted to, since the primary goal out of the box is to make labels and barcodes the most visible. So that's more or less it for our hands-on look at the S8 thermal printer. And again, it's just another alternative to the other models that we've seen, but really at a fraction of the cost, primarily because the size is a little bit larger. Maybe it's not quite as compact, but still works equally as well in terms of rapidly printing out things, especially if you're a small seller, you're trying to start a business on Amazon, eBay, or even if you're just trying to commonly mail things out. This can really expedite the process versus printing on regular paper and then cutting it out and then sticking it on with tape. All you need to do is just click a button and then this thing is just ready to use. Organizing things, even creating some quick photos or screenshots, and it can all be printed out fairly easily using this model. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below. For now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.